welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Melody, I am your host, and we are back for day 2 with Noelle Stransky.
Hey everybody, nice to see you again.
Yes, nice to see everyone again, and thank you, Noelle, for coming back for day 2.
Absolutely.
Super excited. Yesterday was awesome. Big hello to everyone who is joining us in the chat. Tim, Chris, Joe, Lindsay, Sarah, hello everyone, Elijah. It's so nice to see everyone. Tim.
Hey everybody.
Yay! Today is going to be awesome. We're going to be doing designing for any screen, so continuing on from yesterday. Hi Emmanuel, Kristen. It's so awesome to have you all in the chat. So for everyone that's watching, we are going to be doing a chat and win giveaway in about 30 minutes. So all you have to do is just be active in the chat. You can say hi and let us know where you're watching from, or if you have any design questions, feel free to ask, and you can have a chance to win 100 free stickers from Sticker Mule, which is an awesome prize. So ask us your questions and say hi. And then in about an hour and a half, we're going to be reviewing your designs for the XD Daily Creative Challenge. And if you're coming here from Howard's video, which was right before us, he went over today's challenge, and I can quickly go over what today's challenge is. And if you're new to the Daily Creative Challenge, if you head over to behance.net/challenge/XD, you'll land on this landing page and learn more about what the challenge is. It's basically a 9-day challenge that's designed to help you get more familiar with XD and improve your UI and UX design skills, and get feedback from our Discord community, which is an amazing community. And I think there's 11,000 members, which is amazing and so cool. So here are the challenges that have already happened. And today's challenge is to take what you have designed from day 1, which was a landing page for a travel website, and convert that into a mobile screen. So also designing for any screen. So just taking desktop to mobile, and how would you design a landing page on mobile? So if you are working on that, and you can join our Discord channel if you haven't already, and you can submit that in our design feedback channel, and we will be reviewing your designs at the end of our stream. And yesterday there were some amazing designs and really cool splash screens. So I'm excited to see what you all come up with. And yeah, be sure to submit that here so we can take a look and give you some feedback. And I'm super excited. And yeah, so I can pass it over to Noelle. Maybe you can let us know a little bit about you if anyone's new or just joining us for day 2, and what you will be working on today.
Absolutely. Hey everybody, my name is Noelle, and I'm a senior product designer who primarily focuses on mobile. So a lot of the work I do is on either iOS or Android. But I also have done a lot of work inside of the gaming industry, working on kind of websites and TV interfaces, and not games themselves, but the support things living around games. Yeah, and so today I'm going to continue working on a redesign of a mobile app that I created with a friend a couple years ago. It was an app that we were talking about at work, kind of on the side, and decided, hey, let's actually make this a real thing. It's a pretty simple app called I Am, and it's daily affirmations. And what it does is it sends you push notifications that you set a couple times a day, just to give you positive messages. So it allows you to receive push notifications like, I am confident, I am happy, I am ecstatic. This kind of came out of a conversation where we were getting tired of reading negative news and tons of just depressing stuff on Facebook and social networks, and really just wanting a happy reminder in the morning, or wanting something to wake up to.
Something nice and positive.
Yeah.
It's a really cool app, and it's available in the App Store if anyone wants to download it.
Yeah. I think it's available on both iOS and Android. So yesterday we worked a little bit on some of a UI refresh and design updates to a couple of the pages. And today I'm going to continue on, we're going to explore maybe a tablet version of a couple of the pages, maybe play around with some prototyping, try to animate a couple of the screens. And then if we have time, maybe diving into doing an Android version and coming up with talking about some of the differences on Android versus iOS.
Yay, I'm super excited about that because I've never designed anything for Android, so I'm so used to like iOS standards, so I'm really curious to see what the differences are with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's not as scary as you think it would be. Sweet. Well, yeah, should we just dive right in?
Yeah.
Cool. So the first thing I'm going to focus on, I want to create. So as a product designer, depending on the teams that you work on, often I have to work on multiple versions of the apps at the companies that I work for. So a version that's both an iPhone and an iPad, and then also an Android version that's Android phones, Android tablets, and then phablets too, which throws another a wrench into the game. So we're gonna do kind of let's start with maybe this categories page, because there might be some more interesting things here for the tablet design. And so I'm gonna start out, I think I'm gonna just create a copy of this artboard to start. And then there are a couple things in here I'm going to go ahead and delete right away because I know I won't need them. There's the scrim around the edge of the iPhone. And let's see. This is just my background. That's okay. Let's see how this works with responsive resize. So I've got responsive resize turned on, and then I want to a good size to work with for tablet sizes is 1024 by 768, which is usually what I go for. I think it is one of the older iPad sizes, but at least you go for that size. It's a good starting point.
There's also, if you click on the new artboard icon, there should be some dimensions of different tablet sizes already pre-made, so you can get an idea of what dimensions you need depending on what size of screen you want to design for.
So iPad Pro,
nice.
11-inch. Cool. Oh, that's great.
That's a huge iPad.
Yeah.
That's the size of my laptop, which is insane.
So definitely a range of sizes.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and hold off on these guys for now. Now let's see what happens when resize this up. I think for now I'll do maybe 768 for the width. Maybe 1024 for the height. Ooh, it did not like that. We'll leave the height for now.
Yeah.
Let's see. It did a decent job, actually.
The illustrations kind of went a little wonky.
Yeah. The illustrations were not grouped within the here.
That could be why.
So that might be why. Yeah, so if I look back at this doc, I think I added them onto the top.
Oh, I see.
So that I could have a different one in each one.
Yeah.
And I think that may have been because these are SVGs and not image files. I might have to kind of play around with these ones a little bit. Is it possible to get it to go like A, B, C, D? Because it looks like it copied the row.
Yeah, I think because it was a repeat grid.
Yeah.
So maybe if you ungroup the grid before you resize it and see what happens.
Let's try that. Oh, actually. Let's just get it. Let's see.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Piero. Thanks for joining us. Ooh, okay. Now I see what.
Yeah.
Now it kind of went long. So with responsive resize, it can be a little difficult because it doesn't resize everything perfectly for your screen, but it gets you to a good starting point, and then you can make your small adjustments to kind of figure out. I think it did a good job with like the top bar and then that top section, but the bottom part is what is kind of like, you might have to do that manually, I would say. And it just depends on what the design is.
So I think I'm going to expand this out a little bit. Since it is a tablet interface, we can take up quite a bit more room. And then how do I get to the sizes? There we go. I want this little guy.
So hover and then click and drag.
Oh, that is so great. Let's see if we can center this a little bit. Yeah, so even though there's a little bit of cleanup, that's still like probably 20 minutes of work that was saved for me.
Yeah.
Probably go through and resize these guys. I wonder actually if we should maybe take even more, maybe go even bigger. Since these illustrations are great and I'd really like to show them off. Let's see. There we go. Make this a lot larger so that when I make these larger, there's the space.
Yeah.
So then I might even move this title down so it's centered.
Ooh.
And then we can have
like
the
that.
images
Yeah.
grow a little bit larger.
And these illustrations are from the Undraw plugin, which we showed yesterday, and it's my favorite plugin if you haven't tried it.
It is phenomenal. Shout out to Katarina.
Yes, she's amazing.
This was a huge pro tip yesterday. Thank you.
Thanks to Tim for reminding us about it.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of illustrations here. I stuck with the stock colors, but
you can change the colors to match your theme, which is really awesome.
So then I might just go in here and I'll update. So I think these are all left aligned, so I'll center them so they fill in.
Nice.
And then I'm just gonna update some of the titles. I'm trying to create a zigzag pattern with the categories.
Okay. Cool. Oh yeah, Tim's back with the pro tips. To change the stock colors, open the assets panel. And yeah, so when you import these illustrations into your XD file, it'll automatically add the colors to your assets panel. Maybe you can show it really fast so they can. So the assets panel is this top thing, and it'll show the colors that you have, and you can add character styles and components, and then you can edit them in your assets panel, and then it'll change all the instances that you have on your artboard, which is really nice. So if you right click on that and then do edit, and then you can change the color, and it'll change it anywhere that you have it. So if you change your mind about a color, you don't have to manually change it. You can just add it to your assets panel and then edit it that way. So it's really nice. Nice thing to
stellar. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's super helpful too when you're working with clients. Especially, they'll probably be really opinionated on colors.
Yeah. And this saves so much time.
I'm gonna just quickly drag a couple of these guys up here. Let's see, and update some of these assets. Oops.
Oh, that's a cute one.
Let's see. Personal growth, health and well-being, working career. And relationships.
Oh, are you gonna add the locked symbol on these categories too? Because I remember yesterday you were showing that some of the categories were like special, and then they had to like pay to use them?
Yeah. Yeah, we probably need to add that back in. And let's see. Go ahead and make this guy. Go ahead and shorten this up because I won't need as long. And I can actually shorten up my artboard as well too. No. I'll turn that off for a sec. Then turn it back on. Cool. So when I work with developers on projects, oftentimes what they end up creating is essentially something like this, where there's some sort of space for an asset. So on their side, they don't care about the dimensions of a pretty picture. They mostly need kind of consistent size to work with so that they can align it. So often I need to take whatever images that I'm using, especially if they have different widths or heights, and make them fit within a single small bounding box.
Ooh, okay.
So I think for these guys, let's see, maybe a height of 100. Oops. That seems to be good.
Yeah.
And depending on like what platform you're working on and working with developers, there are different stretch and alignment options that you can play around with. So I think for this one, I'm going to try to go with a constant of a height of 100, and then the width can change depending, especially since the text is out of the way, so we don't need to worry about them bumping into each other.
That's good.
It makes it a little bit easier for me when I'm resizing all these. Making sure that they fit. Cool, and then I'm gonna just go in and use my guides to, whoops, make sure they're aligned.
So Sarah and Joe are first-time users of XD, and that's so awesome. You're in the right place. I would recommend to check out Howard Pinsky's website, letsxd.com, and he has some great tutorials of how to get started and doing really cool prototype animations. So, oh yeah, Tim just posted it. Me and Tim are on the same page. Yeah, so check out that website. It's amazing, and I learned a lot from Howard by watching his videos, and he also has an auto animate kit that's available to download, which you should check out. It'll help you kind of figure out how to do all the auto animate stuff, and he has some great tutorials. So yes, definitely check that website out.
Yeah, it's a super great resource. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, you guys were right. Some of these are not handling the resize well.
That's kind of funny.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Was it all of them or
Just a couple.
Okay. Yeah, I think that happens, unfortunately, with some of them.
Let's see where. Yeah.
I
So
think you would just have to, turn off responsive resize.
that looks way better.
Yeah.
Good catch. I mean, she is slightly disembodied to begin with, I think.
Oh.
But I think it
Is
might
that
be
normal?
cutting through her torso. So I
Wait.
think that's normal.
Is it?
Let's try on this one.
I feel like that's not normal. Okay. That looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she.
Yeah, I
okay.
think that's the illustration. I think that's the style.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Tim says that's not what separate your soul from the body means. That's funny.
Cool. Yeah, that is much better. speed resizing. Yay. And then I'll just do this. I'll make it a little bit easier.
So Cindy is asking where is Howard's auto animate kit, and if you go to XD, I can show you really fast. If we can switch to my screen for a second. Okay, so I just have a UI kit open. It's not mine. It's by Cody Brown, and the way that I got this is where Howard's auto animate kit is as well. So if you go to File, Get UI Kits, and then More UI Kits, it'll open up this browser. And you can scroll down and there's a bunch of UI kits you can download, and Howard's will be right here. Or you can go on Behance and search for Howard's Behance profile. It should be on there as well, but this is another way to get to it. So,
yeah. Awesome. Oh, that's looking pretty good.
Yay.
That at least for the tablet layout lets you kind of showcase the illustrations a lot larger.
True. Yeah.
And then hopefully it'll flow in a similar collection view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is looking
Looks
pretty
good.
good. Kind of at this point in my process, I would take it to the developer team that I'm working with and show an example to them and just like ask, or do you anticipate that any weird things might happen? Are there any constraints that I need to take into account? Is this doable? If it's easy, they'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem. Sometimes components will act a different way than you expect. I know there's some funky things with grid views in iOS sometimes. They're not as straightforward as you would hope, but that's kind of where it's really important to have a good relationship with your developers and kind of communicate often. So that you don't waste your time designing something for a day and the developer comes back and is like, sorry, I can't make that.
That would be horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to think of my developers as like a partner, like a dancing partner in it. Like we're in it together.
Yeah. That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking maybe real quick we can try doing a responsive resize on this page and then try creating a moving prototype with it. We'll animate this out. So I'm going to go ahead and go back in again and maybe delete a couple of these guys. Probably get rid of this. And turn on responsive resize. Make sure. On here. I'm going to go back really quick and label.
Nice.
Labeling your layers is super important once we start prototyping stuff. Is there some magic on the back end that if the items are named similar things, it'll auto animate for you?
Nice.
So sometimes you can get away with being lazy when you're just designing, but once you go into prototyping, it's really helpful to have a good file name system going on. Okay.
Maybe you can move the illustration off the screen and then do responsive resize and then bring it back.
Let's see.
So it won't.
Oh, and I probably need to maybe take a look at the constraints. So I want a fixed width and a fixed height. And maybe just keep it centered. And same with this guy. So maybe it's just that I need to set up my constraints a little bit. Manual. Might make that one a little bit bigger. And then I want this guy to stay pinned to the left and the top. This one will stay pinned to the bottom. And yeah, we'll see what that does. We'll ungroup you because we want these three. group these guys to the right. We want them to stay pinned to the right side of the screen. And I might move this guy over a little bit. And then this one we'll want to stay pinned to the left. Nice. Let's see.
Oh.
A little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit better. I just had this one scoot over a bit. And I'll update this one so it's more centered on the artboard. Since we have a lot more room
Yeah,
on the
we can make it
tablet,
bigger.
make the images much larger. It's likely in a project like this, I would probably work with a illustrator to do some like fancy custom illustrations on the top. We can probably let's bump up the text size a little bit too.
Hi, Noor. Yeah, these illustrations are from the Undraw plugin on XD.
Those sizes are pretty good. Make this centered. Cool. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'm thinking for my prototype, I'd like to do a little bit of the interaction of the pages swiping back and forth. And then possibly also the pagination indicator here, which I should move this guy up closer. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's update this. I'm gonna ungroup it for now, because technically I have one more to the left.
Yeah. And you're on the
two.
second one.
Yeah, and I'm on the second one, and then I'm gonna add 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll have, we start with the one and we'll be able to kind of scroll to the left and have the rest accessible. Let's see. We're gonna do good eyesight. And what else?
Does anyone in the chat have any suggestions on health and well-being positive affirmations? I am blessed with
Eyesight. Let's see.
I have no idea.
Let's see.
Oh, Sarah says good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Tim says I am blessed with good internet. Yes.
That's a great, absolutely. That's not the case for everybody.
Yes.
Let's see. So I'm gonna try to squeeze
I
this
think
in here a
you,
little bit.
Missed the ED at the end of bless.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and then I'm thinking maybe for the highlighted state, we'll go maybe a little bit bolder and a little bit bigger. Yeah, that may not fit. Let's make it a little bit taller. Let's see if we can go a little bit bigger. Well, that'll give us a couple more properties to animate.
Yeah. Ooh, it's chat and win time. Yay. Oh, Tim says, I'm blessed with 100 sticker mule stickers. And you could be blessed with 100 sticker mule stickers as well if you type away in the chat. If you haven't said anything yet, say hi, let us know where you're watching from, and you will have a chance to win. And we will be right back. Aw, Joe says, I'm blessed with healthy children. That's
Awesome.
amazing. Yay. Catherine is watching from New York. Ooh.
Sweet. Thanks everybody for joining.
Yeah. Des Moines, Iowa.
Nice.
So I've never been to Iowa, but I really want to go.
It's super stunning too to see how international the audience
Yeah,
is.
it's
And it's
so
amazing to
amazing.
see like
India,
from all over.
South Carolina,
Kenya. Yeah.
Cool. We are in San Francisco, California, and it's sunny today, which is nice.
It's been
It was
really
cold
nice.
this past weekend. Cold and cloudy. Ooh, we have a winner, Elijah Leck. Congratulations! Yay! You're going to be receiving 100 custom stickers from Sticker Mule, and you will be getting a message on Behance with more information about that. So congratulations! Yay! And for everyone that did not win, you can still get 10 stickers for only $1 if you head over to this link, stickermule.com/AdobeLive19. Yay! Ooh, New Zealand, Reno, Nevada,
Nice.
Nigeria, Toronto, Mauritius,
Brazil.
cool,
Nice.
England,
Yay.
Chicago, Germany. Wow, everyone's watching from everywhere. Thank you. That's so awesome. Yay.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's start playing around and trying to prototype this.
Cool. So I will first suggest that you group these things together so that it knows that it's like
This is a group together.
the two on the very right.
Okay. And I think I'm gonna rename them really quick.
Good.
Just to make it maybe a little bit easier.
We have Orlando, Paris, France, and South Africa. That's so cool. Thank you all for staying up late to watch us.
All right, so these guys are grouped.
Cool.
Let's see. And then I ungrouped these ones. Should I group those as well?
I would group them to make it easier, I think, to auto-animate. Yeah. Wow, it's 95 degrees in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Woo!
I don't know how I would
Yeah.
go outside. Oh, it's 7:30 a.m. in New Zealand, but it's Wednesday. Oh, you're in the future. Nice.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
time
waking
traveling.
up early. Yeah, and time traveling to watch us. Oh my God, it's winter there, and it's 11 degrees Celsius.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know exactly what that converts to in Fahrenheit, but I can imagine that it's cold.
Cool. Okay, so what we're gonna try to animate out is what it would look like if you were paging through the cards and having them move back and forth. And then I believe I just create a new...
Yeah, so you
a
can
new-
duplicate the artboard with Command or Control D. That's what I like to do, or you can hold Alt and drag to make a new artboard. That's the same one.
Scoot them apart a little bit. So maybe for this first animation, I'm going to take the whole group and shift it over. Actually, yeah. Shift it over. Going to resize this back down. So this one is 30. I'm going to bump this up to 30.
You can also add the text that you have in the boxes to your character styles in your
okay.
assets panel. And
Yeah.
then if you want to change them back to the larger font, you can just click on the text box and then click. So if you head over here and then select one of them and then click on the plus. So it'll add that here, and then you can right click
Add
or
the little one as well too.
I mean, not right click, just click on the text you want to change and then click on the character style you want to change it to and it'll automatically change.
Add character style to assets?
Yes. Or you can just push plus.
Oh, wait. Okay. This one, update to that, and this.
Oh, that one.
This
oh, wait,
one,
no,
I want to
that's
update to this one. There we go. And then we'll make these 242. Let's see, 141.48.
Oh, so 11 degrees Celsius is about 52 degrees Fahrenheit. That is pretty cold.
And I probably actually need to go back to this guy really quick and triple check that these guys are centered and properly distributed. That was my bad. I'll do that across artboards, otherwise we'll get a little bit of a wiggle.
Noor has a question. Can a coder be a designer or vice versa? Who has tried and what was the outcome?
I'd say absolutely. Some of the best developers that I've worked with have had a really good eye for design. They're still developers, but they understand typography and color and know all of the things that the components that it takes to build stuff. And I've heard of designers that become developers as well. So absolutely.
I think it's amazing if you can do both.
Yeah.
Because it's so rare to see. And they're both like very different skill sets, but so like amazing to have. And I think if you have both, that's really valuable to have. So I think definitely.
There's some really great resources out there too. If you just do a little bit of Googling, there are really good coding boot camps to learn how to do like Android design or Android development. And there's another, designcode.io is really awesome because he walks you through how to use design, creating design systems in iOS, and then how to code it in Swift.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I tried learning Swift for a few weeks and it was a little difficult. But I still like wanted to learn the basics of how to like understand that coding language and be more familiar. So
absolutely. And I think it's really helpful as a designer to understand a little bit of what developers are doing in code and the constraints they're working with. Because it just makes your designs that much better. Especially if you can walk up to a dev and be like, here's this thing, and they know it's going to be super quick, like they'll love you.
Nice. That's amazing.
Oh.
Yay. Oh, Danning says they're a creative coder turned product designer.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
Yay.
Cool. Let's see.
Oh, Cindy is a full stack developer and they're learning to be a designer. And there's lots of resources on YouTube, lynda.com, and Pluralsight. I've never heard of Pluralsight.
Oh yeah, that's a new one.
But I feel like lynda.com would have some great resources. And YouTube. There's so much on YouTube that you can learn from.
Yeah, I'm almost jealous of so many of the resources that are available now, like having YouTube and other things. When I started in design, a lot of that didn't exist yet.
Oh, wow.
So it's just amazing the resources that we have on the internet now.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I feel like more resources are being added every day. And it's like never-ending information, which is amazing.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through really quick and double check my padding on these guys.
Oh, is it not called lynda.com anymore, Tim? Is it called LinkedIn Learning? If so, that's very strange, and I did not know about that. Oh, Skillshare is good too. I've heard good things about Skillshare. Adam, I believe it is designcode.io. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will work instead of designcode.com.
Yeah.
Which is under construction, apparently.
And just for my own sanity here, I'm going to remove the decimal points that I'm finding in here. And I think that was from a bit of scaling.
LinkedIn bought Linda. Microsoft bought LinkedIn. Interesting. I didn't know the name changed.
Are you all centered? Yeah, there we go.
It's hard to like double click into all the groups and the layers in the groups.
That's centered on my screen. Yeah, there we go. So much of our jobs can be squishing tiny pixels around the screen. Yeah, there we go. And somehow these guys got off a little bit. I think I was using 24. Let's double check. Move you guys so you're. Oh, I need to update these guys really quick.
Also today there was an update for XD. If anyone saw on Twitter, it was announced, and I can show you quickly what the update looks like. So there's a few new features that are added, and so what I think we talked about this yesterday, but design specs are updated, and now let me go back to home. So when you're on XD and you click share for development, you can create your link, and I copied my link and I brought it over to here, and I think once this loaded, it can show you a grid overview of all of your screens that you have. So it looks really cool. And then you can click on one and then go through the prototype mode. I don't know why it's like being really big, but so you can go through your prototypes and everything, and then you can toggle this on and off. So it can be a regular prototype link, and then if the developers want to know more details, all the design specs are over here. You can click on something, and then something new that they added is if you have a text box with like different text, I don't know what it's called, stylings. Yeah, so if you have like bold text, subscript, superscript, all in one box, you can click on it and it'll say all the styles on here. So it's really awesome. And then here's their blog post, the blog.adobe.com. Maybe Tim can share the link for this, but it basically has what the new update is, and then there's some videos. These video tutorials are also really helpful. It just kind of gives you a quick overview, and yeah, there's grid view, and then comments for mobile, which is awesome. So yeah, just a small update, nothing too big, but also really helpful for designer and developer collaboration. So I just wanted to share that really fast. So yeah, can we switch back to Noelle?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adam actually has a good question inside the chat about base margin spacing and number system. I have kind of different ones that I use depending on my platforms. On iOS, a friend recommended kind of rounding out the numbers. So we use a 5, 10, 15, 20. And we always use the same for margins. On Android, they have a 4-pixel rhythm because of the variety of screen sizes. So I use multiples of 4. So usually it's something like 8. All my margins are always 16, and up from there. And that's because there are so many more screen sizes on Android and a lot smaller, tinier phones that are not as high quality.
Yeah.
So making sure that your design works on everything from a little tiny flip phone to a giant Samsung phablet.
Yeah.
So, and I think on web, I think it depends just kind of on, there isn't as strict of a consistency. But I think usually like my team, we define what our number spacing is. And so we decide as a team to keep it consistent.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim, for sharing the link for the update as well.
Yeah, Adam, the Material 2.0 is all the 4-pixel rhythm. Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, should we see if we can get this moving?
So we can go over to prototype mode, which is at the top.
Sweet. And I just did a little bit of like extra cleanup to make sure it's good, but so would it be when I tap on this section?
You can select the, like double click, and then click on that and then drag it to that artboard.
And so let's do on drag.
So it'll be a drag trigger, and then it'll be auto animate.
Auto animate. Whether
We can try none, or if you want to do like ease in.
yeah, let's see what none does
Yeah.
for now, and then
I think just have to click on that artboard. You can scroll down, I think. Because I think
it's got this guy on it.
I didn't know you can move that down.
Yeah.
What? Cool.
Which means there's
Nice.
a. Just want to turn the scrolling off.
That's awesome.
So I do not need it for this page. There we go.
Ooh.
Okay.
So we would have to prototype it back to
Back
the
to
original
the other
screen,
way.
so you can move back. And then you just do the same thing.
So I'm gonna turn, just because I don't like the way that this switches,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn off the semi-bold. I actually don't like that. What did I do? Here is medium. Cool. So it'll just get larger.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I want to have this guy come back to here. Want to drag, auto animate. I'll maybe do an ease in and out for both of these. Oops. Check that out. Oh, that's
Yay,
awesome.
Cool.
Sweet.
Nice.
And back.
Yay.
Wow,
And then we
that
can
is
also
really great.
or change the color at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that can also change. And then just like turn the third one black, or the darker color, and then the other one gray. And when you do auto animate, if the elements both have the same name in your layers panel, which is another great reason you should name your layers, it'll automatically animate, which is awesome.
It's also another really good way to troubleshoot if you've got weird jiggles happening in your animations. Check your layer names. Or check to see if you have a ghost layer pasted somewhere else that's named the same thing.
Uh-oh.
Cool.
Nice. I wonder if we, because I see you trying to click on like the right and left, but I
Yeah.
wonder if we do like the whole group, if you could scroll, or I don't know.
I'm thinking I need to, whether we could get something for free with the whole group animating.
Yeah, but then it would also have like the, I don't know. So are you just showing like scrolling right? You're not going to show scrolling back, right?
I mean,
Or
ideally
maybe.
we could do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably one way to simplify that would be to maybe have the center one the same size initially and do the back and forth. And then on the individual ones, make them larger. Yeah, because we could do the inverse of, so the first page would be
First page would be everything like the same size. And
Yeah.
then once you start, it'll like get bigger.
Yeah, let's try that. I think I could do that really quick. Let's see, 242, 141.
Also, a reminder for everyone watching, in about 39 minutes, we're going to be looking at your designs on Discord. So if you have been participating in the XD Daily Creative Challenge for the travel site theme of the week, this week and last week, please share your designs on our Discord channel and we will be reviewing them. So you'll just go to the design feedback channel on Discord and share your designs. Even if you're not caught up to today, that's totally fine. We'll still review them and give you some feedback.
I think I might actually blow a little bit of that one up and start here. Just gonna start with making it simple so everything is the same size. And change this guy over. So this would be mode 1. 2, I move it over. Take this little guy. Sometimes I found too with prototyping, you just kind of need to hack around with it and play with it.
Yeah.
It may not be the cleanest thing the first time.
Exactly. I don't think it's been rare that the first time I prototype something it works. The first time I have to like go back and change a few things just to get it how I imagine it. But I think with XD it's really cool. You can change a little thing here and there and then it'll make your prototype.
Well, and it's really nice that it's all built in
Yeah.
too, that I don't have to worry about exporting,
Yeah, like
making
moving
adjustments.
to a different software to prototype, you can do everything in XD, which is amazing.
This one, good eyesight. This one over. Yeah, I probably could create this with components as well and just turn them on and off.
Yeah.
Let's see, how many do I have right now? 4.
I think, is there 5?
I think I have 6.
6, okay.
Oops. Even more. Oh. We actually only have 5.
Oh.
Okay. We will delete and recenter this guy. So the little tiny things like this that
Yeah.
this is where I lean on style guides quite a bit, and creating components, because sometimes it's these tiny little tedious things that end up eating all your afternoon. So let's hook these up really quick. Go into prototype mode. This one to this screen. Drag auto animate these in and out. That is great. On this screen, we'll have this secondary one go over. Drag automate, that looks great. And then number 1, come back.
It's also nice that XD in prototype mode remembers your settings for auto animate, so you don't have to change them. Like since we're doing the same flow here, you can just click and drag and it'll remember your settings. So ease in and out and drag animation, so it can be really fast.
That is.
Hey Cars, thanks for joining us.
I always love it too when I create a prototype and then I show it to like a product owner or developer and they're clicking on it like it's the real thing.
Oh.
And I get confused. Cool. So let's see what this guy did.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Yay.
Well, that's awesome.
Cool.
Cool. That is totally what I wanted.
Yay.
And then what I'm gonna do actually is go back into design mode and just make these a little bit bigger. Maybe make them a little bit taller. Scoop them up a little bit. No, I don't want you to do that. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit easier to do kind of a bigger animation first and then go through and do kind of the smaller things. Cool. Oh, that's great.
Yay,
Yes,
nice.
awesome.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, Adobe XD does a great job of handling the transitions and the sizing. So
Yeah, that's
this
so
is
cool.
awesome.
Yay. It looks so
Yay.
good.
Cool. And I can go back and forth.
Yay.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, there's a little bit of
I think
a
did
hiccup here.
you select it on the left, like clicking the left one to move it instead of the middle one?
Oh yeah, the grab area is on the middle. Yeah,
yeah.
good catch. That's where that is.
Oh, thanks, Cars. You give amazing feedback as well. For those of you who haven't shared any designs in Discord, you should. We have great mentors, and Cars gives really great feedback on your design, so you should definitely share. And also share so that we can give you live feedback in about 31 minutes. Hi, Cindy.
Cool. Yeah, just a couple things I need to update, but that's looking pretty
Yay.
good. That's great.
Oh,
Yeah,
love it.
I'm totally sold on how easy it
Yay.
is to do animations
Yeah.
inside of here. It's great. And the auto animating is just, it's great.
Yeah. Yay. It's really cool. I love auto animate. Nice.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. Might be a good idea. I could switch over a little bit and talk about some of the things I do different importing this design into Android.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Cool. So I'm going to go back to the home page of my design and just grab one over here real quick. Yeah, so I've been fortunate enough the last couple of years to get to focus on working on Android design. And I know a lot of designers, since they don't have Android phones or haven't worked on it a ton, can be kind of scared of Android. It's really not that scary. So I recommend everyone, if you get a chance, try to play around with it a little bit. Google's been doing amazing things with their material design guidelines. It used to be like 5 years ago, it was a little bit more the Wild West, but now they've created a really good design system that you can build off of as designers. So I highly recommend taking a look at the material design guidelines and reading through them, for sure. So kind of one of the basic things I'd start with is just creating a new canvas for Android. So I'm using the preset the Android mobile preset.
So much shorter.
It
Is
is a
that
lot
real?
shorter. It is.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, there are thousands of different Android screen
Yeah.
sizes. There are some good images online about the variety of screen sizes. You get it, like, the designing for Android sometimes can feel more like you're doing a responsive design than anything. Unlike working in iOS, I can't control where something's going to show up. I need to like get a good idea of like hopefully the button will end up here, but it's going to be different with every phone that you pick up.
Interesting.
So on Android, I do tend to start a bit smaller, so that everything looks good for those smaller screens, and then it can just grow for the larger screens.
Nice.
I think iOS, it's a bit safer to go into the larger screen sizes. Another big problem on Android is that adoption is not super high. So a lot of iOS users will have the latest and greatest and have the newest version of iOS like right away.
Yeah.
Android trails behind a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you do have to be more mindful of any changes that you're making, that they'll work on everybody's phones and not just the small subset of new phones.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So you can be a little bit more forward-looking with iOS, and you need to be a little bit more careful with Android.
That's so good to keep in mind.
Yeah. One of the main considerations, too, is just kind of the pixel sizes. Because of that depth of screen sizes for Android, there's a 4-pixel rhythm. So on iOS, I tend to use 5, 10, 15, and then on Android, I'll use 4, 8, 16, etc. So that's kind of like the magic number in my head.
Is it hard to like go back and forth between iOS and Android, like remembering those different numbers?
It can be sometimes. Some places that I've worked, I did both at the same time.
Wow.
And so I'd have iOS and Android sitting next to each other. And then I'd really lean on my developers too and like remind them. Because sometimes you can mess up and I'll do the same button size. And,
that's so tough.
but yeah, it's not too scary. I think I'm going to try to just recreate this page. I actually went in and got the Google Material UI Kit through XD. It's one of the amazing things about being a designer nowadays is that most of these platforms have really great style guides that you can pull from.
Nice.
And actually, I'll show really quick. Definitely recommend reading through the material design guidelines. There's some phenomenal just details inside of here as far as different components to use. They've got some really great color tools and icon sets as well too. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just another really great resource.
I like using their icons.
Oh, they're so good.
They're amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to start this out. I'll start by coming inside of here. Oh, and another thing is fonts as well, too. We will be using Roboto for this one. In general, most of my experience has been that it's a little bit easier to stick with the system fonts. So SF Pro for iOS and Roboto for Android. Android phones can install their own fonts. So some, I think Samsung may have its own custom font.
Interesting.
And yeah, so you can change them. It's just a little bit harder.
Does it affect like loading time?
It does, yeah. I think you may have to package it with it.
Whoa.
So in general, most of the teams I've worked on, we've leaned towards system fonts just to make it that easier.
I feel like that's a lot easier, and
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Roboto is such a great font anyway. But
Yeah.
I don't think you should worry about changing fonts.
Yeah. The new version of Material 2, though, does encourage you to install your own fonts to help create, make sure that your Android design feels like your brand and not just
That's
an Android
nice.
design.
Cool.
So first I want to see if there's a status bar inside of here I can borrow.
So on Android phones, I don't have an Android phone. I have an iPhone, but I know like at the bottom there's like 3 buttons. But does that come on the phone or is that like in the apps?
It depends on the phone you buy.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
The Google Pixel phones, it's a software, so it shows
Okay.
up. And there still are some that it's a hardware button, that it's
Okay.
actually physically on the phone.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Interesting. But
So,
it's
yeah.
there like no matter what app you're using, those
Yeah.
3 buttons will always be.
Yeah. One will be kind of your app switcher,
Okay.
and then the other is your back button.
Okay.
And then we've also, those 3. Yeah. And then they actually have a new mode too that is more gesture based as well, which I think it takes away one of the
Ooh.
buttons. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I
you
remember I was using my friend's Android phone and we were listening to Spotify in her car, and then I think I pushed the back button and I didn't want to, and then like I had something like mess up and I was like, oh my god, I don't know how to do this. So I like just wasn't used to having those
Yeah.
buttons down there.
Yeah, it's coming from iOS. It's kind of an odd update, especially when you're looking at the information architecture of an application that you're working on, to use the back button. But now that I have it on Android, I don't want to let it go.
Oh,
it's great.
interesting.
Especially as someone with smaller hands, I have a hard time reaching
Yeah,
the back
up there.
button up at the top. So having something close
At the bottom.
thumb,
That's true. I feel like that
it's
makes
great.
more sense than like if you're holding your phone with one hand and you're
Yeah.
like, I don't know, holding a drink in the other or something
Yeah.
like Starbucks.
texting while
Yeah,
walking.
which you should not do. But yeah, that's such a good thing to like,
Yeah.
keep in mind.
Oh, it's huge. And I'm trying to find. There you are. Okay, here's a good one to borrow.
And are the like status bars, how different are they from iOS?
So it's slightly different. Here, I'll grab these guys to start. It looks like for this prototype, or for this, they just updated to kind of base symbols. Which this is close to my Pixel. It is different on other devices as well too.
Wow.
Yeah, so on Android, I think actually Android may have moved to also having the timestamp over here on the left,
Okay.
like iOS.
Oh, there is no time.
Yeah.
But where would the time? Oh, it's on the home screen.
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Or-
think it does show up here on the
Okay.
left. Yeah, it's not inside of this kit.
Interesting.
It looks like they decided to just go for more of a base symbol.
Oh.
There are some Android phones with notches as well too. Not all of them, but it does show up. I think,
Interesting.
yeah, there were a couple Android phones that had similar notches prior.
Wow.
So looking at this design, there are a couple components inside of here, such as these sheets that just don't exist on Android.
Oh.
So I would probably have that just pushed to a separate page. So
Oh, you mean like the pull-up
yeah,
overlay kind of thing?
yeah.
So Androids don't have that kind of feature?
There's a new component that's like a background view, but I think it's different because it kind of requires you to re-architecture your entire application.
Oh my gosh.
Like it works well in some of their examples, but I don't think that's what we'd want to do for IM. I think for IM we have kind of a basic home page, and then we would just push into so there's this backdrop.
Oh, I see.
So that could work actually. So it appears over the top of the page. I'm a little more comfortable just with using kind of the regular page pushes. And usually when I'm chatting with devs, they also recommend to stick to some of the more normal conventions. It'll just make the development process a bit easier for them. Let's see. So I want to grab.
This is a really good UI kit. I've actually never used it because I haven't designed any Android apps or anything, but it's like very very good.
It's
and
pretty
really
comprehensive.
detailed. Yeah.
Yeah. And this might actually, yeah, they do some really fancy stuff with components in here as well that I haven't played around with. But if
Look
you
at those
change,
colors.
yeah,
Those are nice.
you can set your primary and secondary colors, and then it'll cascade across the style sheet.
Nice.
It's awesome. Okay, I just want. Well, I guess I'll build it myself.
What are you
Let's
looking
see.
for?
I'm looking for just a regular app bar.
They don't have that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Sheets, sliders.
What's a snack bar?
A snack
Sounds kinda
bar
good.
is like a little dialog box that pops up.
Oh,
Yeah, there used to be snack bar and toasts.
really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which anytime I'm working in Android, I just get hungry. Because thinking about
Yeah.
Oreo, pie, snack bars, toasts.
I don't know what does Oreo stand for?
Oreo is one of the, so like iOS has like iOS 10, iOS 12. Android names all of their releases after desserts.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, pie was one, Oreo was one, marshmallow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Okay, well, so what I'm looking for actually, so I highly recommend the grabbing icons from the material design resources as well too. We've found that these are well compressed and tend to perform better. So I think Google's done some testing on the back end to make sure that these are optimized for slower phones.
Oh, that's good.
So generally in my Android work, we've leaned towards using this icon set versus using a custom one.
Interesting.
So what I'm looking for is a little arrow pointing to the left, which is the up button. Or is it on the back? Nope.
I feel like, so one thing that I don't really love about this like icon thing is when I try to search for a specific icon, the name of it is like not what I would call it. Like if I want to search for a heart, I think it's called favorite or something. And it's kind of confusing. So I wish they had a better search feature.
Some of the naming conventions are kind of funky too.
Oops, I just kicked this desk. Oh wow, Tim just named all of the versions, I believe. Froyo.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
Kit Kat.
I know, and as you
Lollipop,
read it, you totally get
Snack
hungry.
Bar. Oh, so snack bar is the most current one, I think, or maybe that's just something.
Oh, that might
they
be,
have.
the next
I
one
don't
coming
know.
up, potentially.
Oh.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is even though we don't have a lot of Android users in the US, iOS definitely dominates. Worldwide, Android is king.
Oh.
So if you're working on any products that are more international or overseas, it's super important to pick up Android skills.
Nice.
Or if you're working on a US-based product, keeping that in mind.
Ooh, looks like we have a lot of Android users in the chat. And then Tim says Q is the next one. Is Q a dessert?
I don't know if they released the name of Q yet.
Oh, is that the code name or something?
Yeah, that might be the.
Oh, okay.
We just know that that's the next
Ooh.
letter coming up. I don't know if they.
What happens when they get to Z? Will
I
they
don't
start
know.
over? So interesting. I wish I knew more about Android phones. I kind of want to learn more.
Yeah, I highly recommend. It's not that scary. Let's see, 24 by 24. So I'm gonna bump up this guy. No. I'm gonna make the width 24. So I'm jumping ahead a little bit here just because it's a tiny bit easier. So I would probably use maybe the same background for this. Let's see.
Oh, Cindy says they hate that iPhone doesn't have a back button. Interesting. I wonder how I would feel if I switched to Android and then got used to the back button like you said, and now
Yeah.
you said you can't live without it.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what that experience is going to be like.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
It's funny how polarizing it is. It's really useful too as a designer for you to, like, if you're planning on working inside a mobile and potentially working on Android, to just become familiar with the terminology.
Yeah.
I think since a lot of people have iPhones, we tend to forget about Android at all. So like any little bit that you can do to use the right terminology to communicate with your developers,
Exactly.
they love it.
Yeah.
And they'll be happy for that.
I need to learn all the terminology and all of the version names.
Oops.
Susanna says, I referred everyone in my household as going over to the dark side when they got iPhones. That's funny.
Let's see. And then earlier, I grabbed a couple Android icons. I got these through the Material Design website. I just didn't want you guys to have to watch me
Save them.
digging through to find these guys.
Oh, Alina says they switched from Android to iPhone several years ago and they don't have any problem with the back button.
I love it. I think it's great.
Interesting.
It's funny, you don't realize how nice it is until then you start using it. It's like, oh, this is pretty good. There is a weird text height on here that I don't like. Oh, maybe that's why. I'm going to edit my button size. I'm going to bump these up. Most of my icons on this first page are a bit larger than normal, just because we have the space. And since it's kind of such a stark page. The share icon is different for Android as well too. Let's make it 24. It's more this little network connection icon. And then I think I grabbed a paintbrush just to have represent, this would be our theming menu.
Oh, okay.
So let's see. I'm gonna check my margins. So I tend to use 16 for my margins on Android. And then also, I use 24 a lot.
And if you hold, I think Alt and Command or Control, what are the keyboard shortcuts to show? I forgot right now, but
Yeah, I'm just holding Alt.
holding
and then,
Alt. Okay, thank you.
Then moving around to the different
Nice.
areas.
That's so helpful that XD does that.
Oh, it's huge. I'm gonna lock the background because I keep accidentally grabbing it. Make sure you are 16 and align them with the menu button.
Alan says you're handling the hamburger menu like a boss.
Thanks.
Nice. Cars says, is it the camera angle or is Noelle's MacBook twice the size of Melody's?
It
It's
is.
a twice as, yeah. Mine is a 12-inch MacBook, which was sadly discontinued. And that's fine. But I don't know how many inches yours is.
I want to say it's maybe the 15.
That looks about right. Yeah. Mine is the size of a very large iPad. But it's really lightweight. So, but it looks like a MacBook Pro. A lot of people think that it's a MacBook Air, but it's just the MacBook.
So generally, I can copy the same button style over as well.
Oh yeah, how do buttons? Are buttons like similar on Android as they are on iOS, or are they kind of like a different style?
As of recently, with the new version of Android, they can be, yes.
Oh.
It used to be that Android buttons were more boxy and a lot more square. There's a new, with the new Material 2.0, they're encouraging folks to make it fit your brand more than fitting material. So I can have the buttons match more in the rounder style.
Cool.
Yeah, let's see. And then one of the main things being too, just making sure that my fonts are set to Roboto instead of
What was the other font you were using? Oh,
SF Pro. Slight change, Roboto.
So in about 8 minutes, we're gonna be looking over your designs over in Discord. And if you head over to the XD Daily Creative Challenge landing page on Behance, you can click to join our Discord, or the link is bit.ly/XD Discord, and the X and D are capital. And you can join and share your designs that you've been working on for this challenge. And we're gonna be giving you some live feedback in about 8 minutes. I'm excited.
Come on, there we go.
Joe says they like the open source nature of Android.
There are some, like it's always little things too. Like on Android, when you're working with a table cell, it will automatically resize to fit all the content. So if you have a really long title that needs to run 4 lines, the table cells will just automatically do it. On iOS, you have to add extra code to do that.
Oh, wow.
So there are like some little things. And I encourage, like as a designer, it's always to your advantage to learn both. Don't be afraid of one. Diversify.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, thanks, Elijah.
So I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna grab the categories page. Maybe bring it over here. So maybe some of the differences for Android, so instead of having a sheet that pops over the top, I would probably just have it be kind of a regular push page. And then I'm gonna try to grab this guy. Let's see what this looks like once I get it in here. Bit. Center that. And then I'm actually going to grab one of the good concepts inside of Android as well too is the concept of elevation, which I highly recommend watching some of the videos on the material design guidelines about elevation.
Are the videos on the material.io?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they're on the
cool.
material.io site.
Nice.
Because the elevation helps with things like there are like ripple effects on buttons, and buttons will kind of move up in elevation when you tap on them.
Interesting. And this does not exist on iOS elevation?
I think you can create your own similar concept,
Okay.
but it's not as defined.
Interesting.
So I think I'm gonna grab a 4 dp elevation. So each component on your sheet will be a different depth. So like your status bar will be at one position, your app bar will be another, your button will be another,
interesting.
your background will be somewhere else.
Wow.
So I'm gonna just try to copy, I can copy the appearance, right?
You can copy it and then paste the appearance
Okay.
on, I think.
Nice.
Yay.
So that's giving me at least a little bit of elevation here. Then I might come back in and round out the corners a little bit still, because I like that kind of more bubbly, rounded appearance. Let me see actually if I can grab that same. So these are some of the original button styles for Android. So you can see how they are
Those look
definitely
nice.
a bit different.
Oh, what does that one do? Like the animation of you? Like,
Yeah, so it's the ripple effect. So on
okay.
Android, every time you tap on a button, it'll ripple underneath your finger to the edges. It's a really pretty animation.
Ooh,
So
that's
for this-
cool.
Yeah, let's bring that button style in. Just gonna unlink it for now. And maybe make this button a little bit, whoops.
I think you might have to turn off the responsive resize. Oh, never mind.
Enlarge this button a little bit. Now I'll just manually scoot it over. Scoot this to the middle. Update, make your own mix. Scoot this guy over. What is making that bigger? Oh, that's just the ripple effect. So technically this would only be when you're actually tapping on it. And I think the button style is generally in all caps
Oh,
for
really?
Android. Yeah.
Oh.
What would be the best way to...
Oh, so actually with a new update in XD, you can change it to all caps if you go to the right.
There we go.
Yay.
Perfect.
But before that, there was a plugin that you could use called Change Case, but now you don't really need it. You can just use it on XD.
And I think I'm going to update this guy back to more of my rounder buttons. Scoot this guy over to the middle.
Ooh, that looks really cool.
And then it might, because I have white cards sitting on a white background, I'm starting to kind of lose the background. So I might make them a little bit darker.
Oh.
I'll remove this guy for now. And grab the other one. So you can tell that the Android one it's moving a little bit further away from wireframe territory, and my iOS design is still very wireframe boxy since I am dropping drop shadows inside, but you can see kind of some of the subtle differences.
Yeah.
I might even make this button a little bit taller, since the material design guidelines do recommend something around more like 44, 42, I think. Make you bigger. So yeah.
Yay. That looks so cool.
Yeah, and it's super quick to run through. I tend to not design a ton of the different variations on Android. I'll usually take this design to my developers, and then we'll sit and work on the build together, and then run it on multiple screen sizes inside of Android Studio, and then we'll do troubleshooting there, because it could take up a lot of my time to design for
Exactly.
all 3,000 screens.
Wow.
So.
Oh my god, that's so awesome. It's so cool to see the side by side and see the differences between iPhone and Android.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's not that scary. Totally recommend checking it out. It could be the dark side, but we have cookies. So
Yay. That's so cool.
Awesome.
Oh, Munir has a question. What's your favorite UX designers that you get inspired from?
Oh my gosh. I love Karen McGrain so much. And also big shout out to Mike Montero. He's the kind of crazy uncle that yells at you and you need it.
Oh, nice. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, both here in San Francisco. They're really great.
Cool. Nice. I don't have any favorites, I guess. I should, but I don't. There's so many amazing designers. I follow a lot on Twitter, I think that Twitter has a great design community.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend
It's
following
huge.
just a bunch of people.
It's really great too because a lot of conferences as well will upload their videos afterwards too. So
nice.
if you check Vimeo and YouTube, some of the like big design conferences will have all their speakers listed
Nice,
out.
yeah.
So if you can't afford to travel, like it's a great way to still
awesome.
get involved in the community.
Yay, cool. Okay, so it is time to look at your designs on Discord. So, thanks, Paco. So this is our XD Discord channel, which has over 11,000 members, which is amazing. So we're going to be looking at your designs for the XD Daily Creative Challenge, and today's challenge is to take your design from the desktop landing page of a travel website and converting that into a mobile screen. So I'm excited to see. This one's from Cars. Let's look at your desktop version, and then we can look at your mobile. Let me make this bigger really fast. Okay. So this is a desktop. I think we looked at this yesterday, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But cool. This looks really nice. I like this underline here. I think this represents like what page they're on, I believe.
Yeah.
One thing I would say is maybe you can move this like center it underneath here.
Or even
So,
to the
yeah.
sides too.
Oh,
I like little handles.
Even here maybe, or like underneath to kind of like show that you can scroll through. But this looks really cool. Again, I love this like paintbrush effect. Do you have any?
Yeah. Do you want to go to the
Yeah, let's
mobile
look at
version?
the mobile. Okay, cool.
Cool. I like how you brought in the paintbrush effect inside of here.
Mhm, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That looks really cool. Date, return, search.
It might be. It's interesting because so iOS definitely has a bit stronger of a stance of not having your brand inside the front page. They encourage you to not have a logo there. And just have it be that your app icon and the launch screen is your logo, so that by the time people get to your homepage, they already know your brand. But it does seem like there's probably a way you could integrate it a little bit into that header image, or just do something to remind people, like, here's why you're here, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. A lot of times people will download apps, forget about them on their phone, and then come back later and be like, what is this thing? So grounding it in some context.
True.
Yeah, even like the Explore Enjoy, you could totally bring that over.
Oh yeah, I think so. And I think maybe even adding like recommended places, and you can like stack them on top of each other, so you can like scroll down and see that underneath like the search bar. Perhaps.
Yeah. And even integrating in the multiple sections on the web, so the home, destination, ships, packages. If we go back over to mobile, those would make a phenomenal tab bar. I know there's a giant debate still raging in the design industry about the hamburger and hot dog menus.
What's a hot dog menu?
It's like 3 dots. Like there's like 10 different ones.
It's called the hot dog menu?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And I know in some ways the tab bar is kind of passé and it's been around for a long time, but from a usability standpoint, it does really well. And people will kind of always come into an app and click on it. So it's actually a pretty effective discovery tool. Sometimes with the hamburger menu, people won't click on it. Particularly older audiences will not click on it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a weird age divide where like young people will click on it and then,
Oh, that's so interesting. Yay. But great job, Cars. This looks awesome. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this is the splash screen. Let's look at this. Ooh. Okay, let me look at it one more time. Nice. Cool. I like that Aerodad kind of flying up in there. And great job with different colors on login and sign up as well.
Yeah, that's a great way to keep the brand kind of traveling along. app icon
Yeah.
to the login screen, and then once you get in.
Yeah, awesome. Oops. Let's look at this one from Emmanuel. Cool. Ooh, nice.
Cool. Yeah, not too bad. I would be careful to make sure that some of the text is a little bit either darker or brighter, so it pops out a little bit more. I think the brown text is great. You can read that really well.
This one.
But the lighter colors start to blend in a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then I would use maybe a different picture on this one. It looks a little pixelated, or you could even, I think it might be the same. Is it the same picture?
Oh yeah, it might just be zoomed in a little bit.
I would maybe change this to a different image, and you can, there's a plugin on XD called Photo Splash, I believe, and you can import images that are on Unsplash, and they're like high definition pictures.
Oh yeah.
And so that can be a good way to get some cool, like scenic images that you can use. And then I'm wondering, like, what this screen is. This kind of looks like an advertisement to me, and I don't know if that's, let's play it again. I don't know if that's like what you were trying to show. Let's see. Book. Or maybe it's like the loading page. I'm not sure. If you're watching, let us know. But, and then also I would say to use the same font size here.
Yeah, and I'd also recommend to maybe pick one form style and stay consistent with it. Because there's a rounded edge one and then a hard edge one.
Yeah.
Maybe because the rest of the app is also rounded corners, kind of pick one and stick with that through your design.
I agree, yeah. And then I would add a little bit of spacing underneath the book button, just so the user might accidentally like tap on this or something, or tap on book if they don't mean to book.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But awesome job. I think you have some great content in here. I like the price. I'm not sure what this represents, so maybe you could add, I don't know how readable that would be actually, but
yeah. Yeah, generally Nielsen's done a study where icons perform a lot better if there's text available with it, kind of like at a tab bar on iOS. But no, just it's safe as a designer to make the assumption that someone may not have any clue what your tab icon is.
Cool, thank you for sharing that.
There was a interesting question came up in the chat about colors. I think it's up a little bit more. And I want to hype I think it may be renamed, but it used to be Adobe Cooler.
Oh,
Kuler.
yeah, color. I think it's color.adobe.
Color.adobe. This is such a great resource as a designer.
I love this site. Hopefully it loads.
Yeah.
There we go.
So you can put in the colors that you work with as a brand to start with, and then it'll give you recommended colors that match.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
really cool.
I think you can also like scroll through different explore.
Yeah, I just
options.
discovered this, I think last week.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they had this. This is so
I think
cool.
this is new. This is,
Yeah. It's really nice. And you can search for like themes. Maybe let's see what comes up for health.
Nice. Yeah, so you'd be surprised. Sometimes you have to work with clients with kind of funky colors. And so this is a really great resource because you might be surprised with what actually matches and works well.
Trends.
Ooh,
this is cool. I haven't seen this before.
yeah.
Nice. Oh, this is awesome. I got Mario.
Yeah, this is just
This is really cool. Yeah. Thank you for
Absolutely
talking about this site.
Yeah,
I would
I've
definitely
been
recommend this.
following this site for a couple of years, and it's great.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so this one is from Rob, and I think this is for day 3. I remember this from yesterday.
Yeah.
I really like the road and then the text. Cool. So I think this is like a drop down. I'm assuming if you hover over it, this would drop down, or is it if you click on it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks maybe like you click on it. It looks
Yeah.
like those are,
Oh.
are those all road trips based off of songs?
Oh, is it?
Or maybe,
Maybe.
maybe more pop culture?
Cool. I think one thing I would maybe change is using a bold font up here for the menu. It looks too similar to the text under here, I think. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Or maybe differentiate it from this.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit. Like size also could help with that.
Yeah, size
Yeah.
would be good. But awesome job. I like this gradient button as well. Really cool. And I like that you're using like all lowercase and you stuck with it throughout this part, except for the header, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's different. So great job with that. Cool. Let's look at this one. So Munir has a question. What are your favorite UX books?
Ooh.
I have a lot of favorites, but
Yeah. The Lean Startups or the Lean UX is a really great one to start, especially if you want to work at all in any startup environments. Most of the startups that I've worked with kind of follow that same philosophy. And then I'm forgetting the author name. One of my favorite UX design books is The Best Interface is No Interface.
ooh,
It's a
I haven't
little,
read that one.
it throws a little bit of a wrench in things.
Oh, I want to read that one.
And it's kind of, you could maybe not like it as much, but it's just a really good book where it talks about like sometimes the best way to solve our UX design problems may not be a piece of software. There may be another way to solve the problem and look at it.
Yeah, interesting. I like The Design of Everyday Things is a great book. And then Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug is also really good to like get the basics of UX design. And then there's a book that I'm reading right now. I think it's called 100 Things Every Designer Should Know About People. And it's really, really interesting. It's about like the psychology behind how people think and look at a screen or look at something and how they read things, and it's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
So I really like that book as well.
Yeah. Don't Make Me Think was one book that after I read it, I was like, why did it take me so long to read this? Because it's really fun.
Yeah, it's a fast read too.
Yeah, it was
So
pretty light. Yeah, I know Jamie Levy from.
I saw her speak. She's amazing.
She's phenomenal. And she's got a really good UX design strategy book. So if you want to go deep on UX
Her
design
book is
strategy, or if you want to work as a consultant, totally recommend that.
She's awesome. Okay, back to the design. Let's see. Let's look at this. Okay. Nice. Cool. This is great. I like the border here that kind of helps separate these images from the background image.
Yeah, that's a nice treatment to kind of add some depth to it.
Yeah. Nice. I like this. I think maybe this, I feel like it should be a little bit higher. Or I don't know, I don't think it should be covering this necessarily.
Well, an interesting thing to maybe explore would be to see what would happen if it changed where it was. So like maybe everything else scoots out of the way. Kind of like when you're filling out some credit card forms, the stuff will scoot over.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Yeah, there were some really nice examples in the UI prototyping kit that did similar things where when you tapped on an area, it moved over and got bigger.
I think that would be a cool thing to do here. Yeah, but awesome job. This looks great. Let's see. Let's take a look at this one.
To answer Mornir's question really big, lean on your process. Talk about your process. if you've got a really deep app, maybe pick one area or one flow to walk through, and talk about the research that you did, the wireframes, the sketching, any user research feedbacks. You don't have to show the entire app. Generally too, like we all work on B2B products and things that may not be super boring and flashy. Like don't, like, go ahead and lean into that. Like don't worry, because everybody's spent a lot of time setting screens and stuff. So.
Nice. Cool. Let's start this one over. Thank you for answering that
totally.
question. Yeah. So this is the splash screen. Or no. Is it? Let's see.
Yeah.
Ooh. Nice. Cool. Let's look at it one more time. I really like how the globe like expands and then it becomes the background. It's really nice. I think someone commented this, but I would also remove this at symbol. I don't think it's very necessary to have that in the text.
Yeah, and just be a little bit careful with the typography as well too. It's a little light and hard to read.
Yeah.
Both for that and the yellow color. So making sure that it's maybe a little bit larger and easier to see. I know, like as a designer, I love the light font weight.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's great. A lot of people can't read it.
Yeah.
So if you're using light, make it real big.
Yeah. And I think I would maybe change this red. I think it's like a red-brown color against the screen. Could also be a little bit difficult to see. If someone is colorblind, they might not see one of those. But a good plugin to use is the Stark. Yeah. Let me switch over to it. This one, and you can check the color blindness of what you're designing and see, like testing it on different colorblind types, and you can see how it would look, which is really helpful. So you can just check, oh, what does pro mean? Oh, I probably have to pay for it. Never mind. But it's still a really good resource to use. So I would recommend downloading this plugin, which is free for most of the things that are helpful, and then seeing if it passes. Yeah. Sorry, let me go back to Discord. But great job. Love the splash animations. Let's see. Let's go to this one. Oh yeah, cars. It's called the Stark plugin. Yes. Ooh. Cool. Nice.
Nice.
This is awesome.
Cool. I like kind of the jauntiness of this design. I would recommend though, if you're gonna go jaunty, go really jaunty. Because it almost looks like it was a mistake, so go a little bit more.
Yeah, I think just the login is like a little bit, or
because the
is it
sign up
both?
is, yeah, I think
Is the sign up
it's
also
all
like a little
yeah.
this way?
I wonder if it's supposed to be like a leaning boat.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would emphasize it more because it's too subtle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's a general concept, like in drawing and in design. If you're gonna overlap something, to not just tiny overlap, but a really overlap, or not at all.
yeah.
So I think similar, if you're gonna rotate something, do a similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Can you scroll on that page?
Oh,
There you go.
thanks.
Yeah, welcome.
Cool. Nice. I would be careful with this. Make sure it's at the top of your layers panel if you want it to be sticky and not go like it goes underneath that circle here. But if you want to prevent that, I would just move this to the top of your layers panel. Yeah, cool. And then if you want this to remain open as you scroll, if you go to prototype mode, it changed spots actually, but on prototype mode you can click on fixed position when scrolling and it'll stay in the same spot, which is nice. And then one thing I wanted to mention is this splash screen is awesome. I love the idea behind it and the airplane going, but I think you can make it a little smoother. I would just double check that all the layers you have across the artboards have the same name, and then that should make the animation like a little bit smoother, because right now it's like pausing a little bit here and there, but I think if you just double check that it has the same name, it should be like, whew, like the airplane will be like flying over and it'll be a lot smoother.
Yeah, generally a splash screen will probably only be there for like 3 to 5 seconds, maybe max, depending on how long it takes the app to load. So yeah, speed it way up.
Yeah, I think it would look really cool.
Oh, hey Carl's by Jaunty. I think I mean like a pirate, like a jaunty pirate.
That's funny.
I figured since this was nautical themed, they might be leaning into the kind of the pirate theme.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but yes, thank you to everyone for sharing your designs. If you are still working on today's challenge or the previous days, feel free to still share them in the design feedback channel on Discord, and we have some great mentors. I'll be in there today giving feedback as well. Yeah, we have a few minutes left, so maybe Noelle, you can go over what you worked on over the past 2 days and just give a quick overview.
Yeah, I know. And if anybody has any questions or like advice on like job searching or like getting involved or like how to further your career and stuff, feel free to ask in the chat. Maybe we'll try to answer those really quick.
Yeah.
I'll just show really quick. Wow, we got through a lot.
Yeah.
We went through and created tablet versions of some of the screens that were originally mobile versions, and then also went through and created a nice swipe animation, which I'm super stoked with.
Yay.
There are definitely some little things I could still tweak here, but this would be good enough that I could take it to a developer and be like, hey, what do you think? How do you like it? Maybe even having this icon change or this image change every time you move it and have it morph through.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah, and then we also talked a little bit about how I would then translate that design into Android and some of the differences.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, awesome,
Yay.
great. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Sometimes the app architecture can be a little different on Android.
Yeah.
But generally it should be pretty not too crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yay.
and I encourage everybody play around with Android, check it out. It's not as scary as you think.
Yeah, I'm definitely not scared anymore after hearing you talk about it. So
Yeah, sweet,
I'll
sweet.
definitely start learning more about Android design.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, totally
Yay.
recommend it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Noelle, for joining us. It was an awesome 2 days. I learned a ton, and I'm sure everyone in the chat, hopefully you guys picked up some great tips as well. And a big thank you to everyone in the chat for joining us and interacting with us, asking us some great questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining and watching. Really
Everyone-
appreciate it.
Yeah, everyone
So-
go follow Noelle on Behance, Twitter, her website, which is, I think, just noellestransky.com.
Yeah.
Yay.
Feel free if you want to find me on LinkedIn, reach out, ask
Yeah.
questions.
Yay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you
yes,
so
thank
much.
you, everyone. We'll be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow with the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.